Now, the problem with this approach, of course, is that the discontent which is causing the dysfunction is actually a result of the boss not caring for and growing the people who are doing the work. And when the boss brings in the HR manager to go and look after the people, what he's really saying to them is that this job of care and growth is not his job. The HR manager has to care for the people, she's got to grow them. Which basically means that this approach entrenches the discontent of the people, and the outcome of that is that the task is even under greater crisis and the results are even more challenged. So by surrogate management, we mean the employment of a stand-in or a proxy function to deal with the human problem so that enterprise management is free to pursue the production of results. And there are many examples of surrogate management. It is things like the human resources function, the union, management communications, employee engagement interventions, all sorts of things which the boss thinks he will do, which then creates the condition where people think the organization cares for me and grows me. Not realizing it is not up to the organization to care for and grow somebody, it is the boss who has to care for and grow somebody. Now, our insight into this issue of surrogate management was the result of research that we did at the Chamber of Mines in the 80s. And I'd like to speak about one specific mine that we did work on in 1987, and we'll refer to the mine as Mine E. We investigated trust in management on this mine, and we asked employees, is management highly trustworthy, reasonably trustworthy, not very trustworthy, or totally untrustworthy to look after employees' interests? A score of 10 on our scale, it would indicate a situation where 100% of the sample felt that management was completely trustworthy, and -10, everybody felt that management was completely untrustworthy. And what we found across the 3 divisions of this mine is that there was quite a dramatic range of trust. There was one division where the trust was positive, although it was marginal, but it was still positive. There was another division where the second division, the trust was poor, and the third division, the trust was particularly poor. We then tried to account for this range in trust by looking at the sorts of roles that people would go to if they had work-related problems. We presented employees on this mine with a whole list of roles that would be typical of the mine, that they could go to for sympathetic attention should they have a work-related problem. And there was something like 17 roles on the list that we presented to employees. And what we're looking at here are the 6 most important roles that came up across the 3 divisions. One of the tools that we applied to kind of separate significant roles from insignificant roles was just how frequently the role was appealed to. And we had a cutoff point at 70%. So applying that rule, what became apparent is that on Division 2, there were only 5 roles that were approached by more than 70% of employees, and Division 3, only 2 roles. We then further had a look at the character of those roles. So the first roles we looked at were, if you like, collegial roles or peer-related roles. So roles like a union representative, a co-worker, or a home friend. And what was apparent is that on Division 1, which was the high trust division, only 2 of these roles came up, but they came up alongside many other roles. Whereas Division 2, 3 roles came up, the co-worker and the union representative and the home friend. And on Division 3, only 2 roles, but they were the only roles that were appealed to by more than 70% of the employees. The next roles we isolated were roles that had to do with the human resources function. On Division 1, only the personnel assistant, which was the lowest level HR functionary on the mine, was used by more than 70% of their employees. On Division 2, the personnel assistant came up again, but what also came up was a role called the departmental personnel officer. Although it didn't make the 70% mark, it was fell just short of the 70% mark. Now, the departmental personnel officer was the person that the personnel assistant would have reported to. Which basically means to say that in the top 5 roles, there were 2 HR roles. What really set these minds apart, though, was the degree to which roles associated with the formal line of command was seen to be important. In other words, the degree to which roles associated with the formal line of command would be sympathetic when these people were approached with work-related problems. So in the first division, the team leader, the shift boss, a shift boss is a senior supervisory role, and the committee representative were all used by employees for sympathetic attention. Now, these committees were works committees. They were really chaired by people in the line, and it was really a way of getting access to senior leadership in the line of command. So the fundamental theme in Division 1, which was the highest trust of the three divisions, was that when employees had problems, they felt that they could go to their line supervision to have these problems attended to. On Division 2, the only role that was used by more than 70% of the men was the team leader. All these other roles, like the shift boss and committee representative, did not feature. And on Division 3, there was absolutely no role associated with a line that was used by more than 70% of employees. So clearly the critical variable that accounts for the difference between these three divisions is not the degree to which HR is involved to look after people's problems, or indeed the union is involved to look after people's problems, but the degree to which roles associated with a line of command are concerned with looking after people's issues. It is when those who give the instruction care for and grow people that people commit to the enterprise. When those who give the instruction give the role of looking after people, caring for them and growing them to a stand-in or a proxy function like the Human Resources Department, what they actually do is they entrench the fundamental sense of illegitimacy that employees have of the power that's being exercised when an instruction is given. The problem of the surrogate is that it actually entrenches employee discontent. It doesn't address it. Thank you very much.